welcome to MOT Media. MOT Today, you guys know what it is. What's going on, Mick?
What's up, guys? My voice might be a little bit messed up. I was at a Cavs game last night screaming, "Let's go Cavs," for like an hour.
And they won.
And they won.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Michigan-Tennessee game when Paige and I went out last night, and Michigan won. So that was pretty cool. You know, I'm originally from Michigan. I've always been a U of M fan, even though I don't watch very many sports. And it was cool seeing them win. There's a chance that they'll be playing Ohio State in the next round. And then you said that the Cavs, on a total, going back to what you were saying, the Cavs, they're going to be going to the playoffs now.
I mean, it's not like a for sure thing. I think they'd have to lose like damn near every game the rest of the year to not go to the playoffs. But
Gotcha. So very unlikely that they won't make it to the playoffs.
Yeah. They just had a huge win, like not last night, but the night before against Denver. I predicted them to win that game. I just had a weird feeling, but it went into overtime, and they don't have their starting center right now. But they were still able to beat the Nuggets, who have like the league MVP. He's a giant man. He's a big, giant white guy named Nikola Jokic. And they were just running circles around the dude. I saw some of the highlights. But then last night they beat a crappy team in the Detroit Pistons, who have like 50-something losses. But we lost to them like the last two times we played them, so this was good that we won.
Nice. Now you just.
But tonight or tomorrow they play. LeBron's coming to town.
Nice.
So that'll be a good
Which
game.
Reminds me, we also need to talk about doing these street interviews more. We need to get on doing these street interviews, as we've talked about, going into whether it be in the bars like we talked about, and shooting the shit with people there and interviewing them regarding some of the topics that we cover, because we do have some street interviews that Malcolm and I did a while ago. We still need to share those with you guys, and that's in the works. There's a lot in the works on the scene. But yeah, Mick, that's something else that we need to really, really get into, man. Doing some more street interviews. I think people would really appreciate that.
Yep, got a lot of stuff going on.
Yep, so today, being that this is MOT Today, not the MOT Sports, and I will sound like a jackass talking about sports because I don't know much about sports. I mean, I used to play sports and everything growing up. I was pretty athletic. You can't tell now with my big old belly. But, used to wrestle, used to play rugby, played basketball, played football. Anyway, this is not MOT Sports.
Nope.
So just wanted to
make sure you like, share, subscribe.
That's right. So today we're going to be talking about starting off with the new gun law that just passed in Ohio. And once again, this isn't exclusive to Ohio. There are other states that have already passed this or are working on passing such legislation. And that makes it, I think, an important topic for everybody to be aware of, to know what's potentially coming down the line for other states and what resistance might appear from it. So Mike DeWine, the governor, just signed into law recently, I think this week.
It was Monday, I think.
Yeah. And just signed into law that you no longer, if you're 21 years old and you have a handgun, you want to concealed carry, you don't need a permit to do so. You don't need a license to do so, which is really cool. That's really awesome. However, there's like a 90-day period before it actually goes into effect. Is that right, Mick?
Yeah, it's going to be 90 days from when it was signed. So,
gotcha.
Like in June, then it'll be legal as long as you're 21.
Because you were saying if you were 18,
it's harder to conceal a rifle, I guess.
I guess, unless you had one of those big old trench coats, You just walked around with your trench coat and you had like an AK inside of it.
It snows a lot in Ohio, so you might be able to get away with that.
Right. Right. But if you're 18, it's not, I guess we'd have to do a little more digging into it, but from the articles we read, it's kind of vague as to whether or not you would be able to do any kind of concealed carry, because it says 21 and over, you don't need a permit to do so. If you're 18, you can't. So maybe it just means that you can't because you can't even get a handgun legally at 18. But if your dad or your family members give you a handgun, that's totally different. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting. What's the 18-year-old going to do? Can they open carry? Can they open carry their gifted handgun? They can open carry their shotgun.
I don't think you're just even allowed to have a handgun if you're not allowed to give someone who's under 21 a gun. Like
you can, yeah, you
a
can.
pistol, you can give them a rifle. I don't think you're actually allowed to give them one. Like that would be you breaking the law. To be like irresponsible or something.
Maybe, I guess.
I don't know. I don't read all the rules. I don't even know where to find half the laws, man.
It is kind of odd that they'll say 18-year-olds, you can go out there and buy AK-47 if you can find it. But God forbid you have a 9mm tucked in your waistband. That right there, that's just dangerous. But put on your trench coat, load up your AK-47, you're good.
Yeah, they gotta they have to, I guess, take what rights away they can.
I guess. And it's also crazy that you can go get drafted for war, but you can't have a freaking handgun at 18. But they'll give you a handgun in the army.
Military.
So
yeah, I mean they've been talking about that shit forever. So I mean, like
they have been.
You can't smoke unless you're 21. You can't drink unless you're 21. But you go to the military.
The whole smoking thing just changed recently. That's why that was a new initiative. That was a new push, and it just passed a couple years ago, probably.
I was reading something that I can't remember what country it was, but there was some country where they're trying to like get rid of smoking. Like they're like raising it higher and longer, like from 21 to like 24, and they're like doing a gradual thing to eventually where you'll have to be like 50 years old before you can smoke or some shit. Like every year they're going to keep extending it. I just read that somewhere recently.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't know. Smoking's bad for you, so probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But it does pose the question about how much liberty one has. But this new law, getting back to this law, provides more. I hate to say it, I hate to word it like this, but it affords people more liberties because you don't need the permit, you don't need the license. However, I wonder if the process of getting a gun is going to be more difficult.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to change that.
I'd like to say something real quick. I actually don't think smoking's bad for you. Like, if you smoke cigarettes, it's bad for you because people be smoking like a whole pack a day. But if you just hit like a cigar once in a while, I don't really think. I mean, it's obviously not good for you, but there are, I think, some medicinal effects to like tobacco. You know, like it has some. You know, it affects your brain chemistry. I've heard somewhere that it like increases your testosterone or something. Like, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just saying that. Yeah, like if you are addicted to cigarettes and you smoke all the time, it's not good for you. But like hitting a cigar once in a while could actually be beneficial. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't heard it, but I think burning anything and then inhaling it is not good.
Yeah. It's obviously like not good for you physically, maybe, but you know, there could be some mental benefits to doing it every once in a while. I don't
know. I mean, hey, I'll smoke a cigar every once in a while. I'm not acting like a prude here saying, you know, I don't do any of that shit. Yeah, I'll smoke a cigar every once in a while. I have no issue with that. I've smoked pipe tobacco. You know, I have no issue with that. Anyway,
MLT health and lifestyle right now.
Right. Probably not the person you should be getting health advice from. You know, I have a horrible sweet tooth. I have a big belly, and yeah. So, what do you think about the gun laws as far as getting a gun? Is that going to change now because of the new shift in how you don't need a permit?
I mean, not for the criminals. It's only gonna change for people who don't want to break the law. I don't know. I've heard things that like, man, I think Andrew Yang was trying to say when he was running for president that they should like revamp the guns and make it so that like you can only shoot it like basically state controlled or something. Like
you're gonna put a chip in.
They all have like chips in them or something.
Gotcha. So the ATF will be watching how many rounds you let off, and if you let off one too many rounds, they'll come take your gun away.
Yeah, I mean, guns smoke whenever you shoot them. That could be like an emissions thing. You know what I'm saying? You might have to. Some kind of some kind of catalytic converter or something on your gun.
Right.
But gun oil is bad, man. Oil's bad for the environment.
Yeah, dude, this is true. But I'm curious on how the gun laws are going to change with this new permit. I mean, with this new law, and how you don't need a permit anymore.
I heard 10 people got shot. 10 people just got shot at something last night, some kind of festival or something in Arkansas. Something was going on. They're always
shot all the time, every day, every hour.
It's crazy.
I think what we need to do is train people to be like Neo in the Matrix, and then they can just set up their own force field when bullets come their way, and then they won't ever have to worry about it ever again. That's a solution.
Yeah, I think that they should train kids to use guns, and they should emphasize that they're tools, not toys. Like, I don't even like playing with toy guns.
I agree, 100%. My kids will know how to shoot a gun. My kids will know how to use. They'll just know how to use a gun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Whenever I was a kid, dude, we would play toy guns or whatever. But like,
right.
I don't think that was like a good thing. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I'm really weird about the shit. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is okay. It's like our American culture, but I don't like how they ram that shit down kids' throats so much and like make them think guns are cool and shit. Like, I mean, yeah, guns are cool, but I don't know. There's a fine line. Like, you have to emphasize to your kids because, I mean, I've kind of sheltered my kid to it at this point, but I mean, there is going to come a time where I need to explain it to them, and
right.
I don't know.
Right. My daughters, I think that we joke sometimes because we emphasize the fact that, yeah, well, you can think animals are cute because I think there's a lot of this ties into what you're saying with the guns. I think there's a lot of programming when it comes to animals too. Just like you think there's a lot of programming when it comes to guns. I think a lot of the programming with the animals is that these animals are your friend. You should love them. You should blah, 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 blah. Don't get me wrong. You can have domesticated animals. You can be friends with your animals, if you will, but that relationship is very surface level, right? But ultimately, you have to look at them as a source of energy and food, and they can also be an asset to you in other ways as far as helping you get other food. And so where I'm getting at here is my daughters, especially, one of them, they'll, every time they see a bird, they go, like ready to eat it. And so, my wife and I have joked about like getting spears or something and like letting them go out and hunt the freaking birds. And then so with a gun, that would be a good opportunity to be like, this is one of the ways that you would use a gun is to kill the animal so then you can eat it.
Maybe your daughter was a cat in her past life.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
she's always a savage.
Speaking of kids hunting animals, dude, whenever I lived in Akron, I saw some kids like hunting cats with fucking wooden spears, bro. I swear to God.
What? Were they Asian?
There was like an apartment complex next to where my grandma lived, and there was like
were they Asian?
No, they weren't. I can't remember what they were. They were just like white kids, but there was a hole in the fence like between my grandma's yard and an apartment complex, and the kids were like in my grandma's backyard. Like, I'm like, what are you kids doing? They're like, we're hunting for cats, and they had like a wooden like a stick, I'm like, what the hell?
I wonder what gave them that idea. I wonder if like one of the cats like ate one of their hamsters or something.
Like, dude, I don't know. They probably just didn't have shit to do.
Probably not. That could have been it too.
Just let the kids run around outside and hunt for cats while you're in there slinging crack or something. I don't know.
Hey, that's better than in my opinion, putting them into indoctrination camps, aka public school. Just here's a spear, go catch yourself a cat.
Yeah. Well, in my they're trying to pass that school thing where I live, and they're like, it's only going to raise the property taxes like $18 and some change a month. And they're like, we're still going to have the lowest property taxes in Summit County, I guess. I don't know. They're going to have
And
people
I
vote
want
on
my
it in May.
$18. See, that's something else, man. That's a big thing that keeps me.
And what is it? Is that like forever? Like they pass it once and it's just like forever? Or what, after the schools are built, are they going to like stop taxing us?
Probably it will be in perpetuity, and it'll probably adjust every so often.
Yeah.
Property taxes, I think, are so wrong because it never allows you to actually own the property. And there's no way around it, at least here in the United States. Everywhere you go in the United States, you have to pay property taxes. Therefore, you do not own your property. The government always owns, the bank always owns.
I mean, even, I don't know. There's countries where you don't have to pay property taxes, I'm assuming. I don't know.
I don't know. That's why I just said specifically in the United States, because I have looked into it.
And even if there is somewhere where you don't have to pay property taxes, it's only because the government allows you to own it. You know what I'm saying? Like they control. There's a monopoly on the violence. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. I guess what you could do is you could just set up a cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and then you never have to pay property taxes
until they try to like rezone it and sell the land to someone and they find you living there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of desolate land in America, so it'd be the odds of you being able to get away with it.
Well, someone's gonna catch you building a cabin. I mean, you gotta. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you just chopped all the trees, if you just went out there with,
you mean to tell me that you don't think that there are people like in the national forests and the national parks around the nation,
hermits,
that have set up their own little private societies and nobody knows what they're doing?
I don't know. I mean,
you don't think that?
There's probably people living in the woods. I mean, I'm not gonna. Yeah, obviously there are.
Yeah, dude. So
I'm just saying,
I'm sure that you'll always be able to get away with it, but that's not the lifestyle I want to live.
Yeah.
But property taxes. Property taxes is the next thing that they need to get rid of. Screw caring about this concealed weapons license. All right.
They're never gonna do that.
Get rid of the property taxes.
Why would they do that? Then they're losing all this control and power. They would never do that.
They might.
I don't know. I mean, it was crazy. I was reading like the 30-year anniversary of my town. They sent us something and they're like, we raised record-breaking taxes. Like it was a good thing or some shit. I'm like, what the hell? They were like showing the chart. They're like, we raised so much taxes. And then they're like, we got to build a circle at every intersection, like, because they got to spend the money somehow. What's that? Well, after they're all circles, what are they going to do? Turn them into squares? Like, they just got to, like, eventually they're going to run out of things to build, right? I mean,
no. I mean, you can always destroy old shit, build new shit. So there's always opportunities to build. You're never going to.
There's always opportunities to just blow money.
Yeah, I mean, there are for sure.
Anyway, there was another thing in Ohio in Springfield Township. The police are they've approved the board of trustees for Springfield Township in Ohio has approved the creation of a part-time civilian investigator, which is just going to be like retired federal officers or something, and they just have to make an adjustment to the Ohio Revised Code to change it from where you only need 120 hours as opposed to 300 or 400 hours of training, I guess. But I don't know. It's kind of vague. I was reading the story. I'm like, what are they? Is it like an investigator to investigate civilians, or is it a civilian investigator? But how are you a civilian investigator if you're like a retired federal officer? So I'm not really sure how that works, but I don't know. It's very vague, like why they're even doing it. So I don't know if it has to do with the rise of domestic terrorism or I don't know. Like, why do they even need to do this? Why are they even telling us? I thought the police just have all this investigation stuff going on anyway. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is our tax dollars, so they sort of have an obligation to. Although there's a lot of stuff that they don't disclose, but I would say that this is one of those instances where they probably do have to disclose it, and they're probably going to be looking for people who want to do those jobs. So it could be a way of letting people know there's a new position opening. If you have prior experience, you can do this. As far as what the job entails, let's just look it up. Civilian investigator. Let's see. Civilian investigators are a type of investigating officers. Various agencies across the world employ civilian investigators to investigate a wide range of incidents that include traffic accidents, crimes related to money, property, as well as crimes against persons. So there's your answer. So that's what they're hiring, is somebody to just pick up. And it probably has to do with the staffing issue.
Well, why don't they just say they're hiring an investigator? Like, what the hell does that even mean? A civilian investigator? Like, so basically, it just means they need less training, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they're not an officer. They're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so I know this is just a random thing, but like, what do you think about the the Biden administration and the left is like, they were all like, get rid of all the police, and now they're like, well, hold on a second, we kind of need them. Like, I think even the Biden administration's been saying lately, like, we do not want to get rid of, police funding and whatnot.
What do I think about it?
Yeah, like why they were all for it like a year ago. Now they're like, well, maybe this isn't a good idea. Like, whoa, who would have thought that would be a bad idea?
Why do you I don't think that they were ever. I really don't think that they were ever for defunding the police, because if you look at the Capitol Police specifically, their budget keeps increasing, and they are one of the most per capita. Like, they have the most police per capita in the nation. They have some of the most. They're like in the top 10, top 5, something like that. So I don't think that they were ever for defunding the police.
They just acted like it to enrage or to like rally up a certain demographic of people who don't like the police or something.
Yeah, exactly. Think about the whole thing when Nancy Pelosi was caught wearing no mask when she was at her salon or whatever, and people were flipping out because of the hypocrisy. This is simply the same thing, where we see narratives being pushed out by these politicians who also don't believe the narratives that they're pushing, but the lobbyists, the corporations, the whoever it may be behind the scenes are pushing them to do so for whatever reason, to help push another agenda. So that's ultimately what's going on, because if you see this too, like with body cameras, the police officers for a long time have been pushing to get body cameras, and they have been blown off until the whole defund the police movement came about, and they were like, put body cameras on the police. And so the police officers were like, we're going to join teams with the people who are anti-police because they'll get us funding for the body cameras. So it's, in a way, creating this this battery, if you will, of energy to just increase the military state. Because you have hate the police, love the police. You have this narrative, right? I support the blue. Oh, really? I think we should defund the police. So then you just have this group of people that are arguing over this stupid shit, because everybody knows having some form of security within the society is not a bad thing. Everybody knows that inherently. And so this just creates this tension, which then gives the military state, the militarization of everything, I think, more energy, more power.
You were like saying people were tripping out about it. Nancy Pelosi not wearing the mask, tripping out, aka posting shit on social media.
Right.
They weren't actually flipping out. Nobody does that, really.
No. Nobody does that. Because people
but when they do, that's what makes the more harsh gun laws come.
Well, yeah, and then you have more harsh gun laws. Then you have think about this. If you want to get more severe with the lockdowns, you're obviously going to need more police to do that.
Yeah.
Right now, there aren't enough police officers to do so. But if you keep encouraging people which is why I think what we're going to become seeing is the um, policing on multiple platforms, not just in society when it comes to the actual police officers, but I think you're going to have more so-called police in hospitals, in schools. And I don't mean like a police officer with a badge. I mean what that entails, like somebody who's supposed to serve and protect, as we talked about, I think last week, serve and
Yeah.
protect the system, but their new niche. Because if you think about it, there are a lot of places that have just been on a mass firing spree over the past couple of years because there have been a lot of people who have said, yeah, I'm not bowing down to that. And they've done their own thing, they've pivoted. And so now they're looking for people. And so the people that they're going to be able to get are those who have been compliant most of the time. And I think that that's just going to keep going on. And that level of compliancy is going to increase the number of people who are willing to serve and protect that system that pays their bills. And then, therefore, they will be sort of like police for their institutions.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of corporations are like against having their own security because of liabilities and stuff. Like, I think they would prefer it to just be the police.
Well, I think that they're going to, I don't know. I don't know. If you look at, I mentioned this before, South Africa, there's a lot of cities there that are basically run by security teams. And so I think
Why
there's
the hell would
actually
you want
been,
to live there if it's like that? I'd be getting the hell out of there. Like, I gotta have my own security. That's how messed up it is. I gotta like then you don't feel
you
safe
don't
outside
think that
your
it's going to
home.
get, just keep going through these logic, just walk through the logical conclusion of where we're heading as a country. That's exactly where we're heading as a country. So why haven't you moved yet? Why haven't you moved yet? You know
Because
what I
it's not
mean?
like
Like
that yet.
prepare.
Right now, my
Yeah,
kid
but
can
it's
walk
going to
around
be.
outside and I don't have to worry about him getting shot.
But it's progressing that way. These are things that everybody who's paying attention realizes.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's not like that now, so that's why I haven't moved. I don't know why they haven't, because there
Yeah,
are
but
places
why
where it's
the
not like
best time to move for them would have been before it got to that point, right? And so
I
Paige and
guess
I
if they had the foresight to see that it was gonna happen. I
you know,
mean,
well, it's probably going to happen here. It already is happening here. We already see it happening here. There are North California has like militia groups that have been doing like these trainings for security purposes to, there have been groups like this across the country doing stuff like
you
that.
can't even own a gun, I don't even think barely. I mean, the gun laws are so strict in California.
Northern California is like a whole different thing, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I know
don't
it's the
know
same
exactly. I
state,
just
but
thought that the state gun laws were harsh there.
yeah, I mean it's the same state, so you're going to have similar legislation, but different culture, different environment, which then brings a different people, right? So I think you're going to see, I think I'm actually a believer that you should be more dependent on your family than the police. I think that you should have a group of friends who will, without question, be like, "Oh, you need me there? I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll help you."
Well, shit.
That's what I think is better than a police officer.
Whenever our car got stolen that one time, I was like, man, we could, me and her dad, we could take like, and I was thinking, I was all like paranoid and stuff. I was like, we could take shifts, like, and the neighbor guy who stays up what night to like keep an eye on things.
Right.
And they, a bunch of people set up cameras when after that happened and
Right. So it's just
signs.
natural to want to protect yourself. You shouldn't be relying on the police. And
Yeah.
I don't feel safe when police come around. I don't know about you guys. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. It doesn't make me feel
Um,
any kind of security.
I used to be like anti-police whenever I was younger, man, but I don't know. I'm not that way anymore.
I'm not against police officers. I'm not
Like
anti-police.
I do actually feel safe around them just because I know there's like some kind of law and order. I mean, it's not like I don't know. I don't want to sound like a wussy or something. Like, oh, I feel safe now, but I don't know. I think that the majority of them like really are trying to do the right thing, and
I agree with you, but I also think the majority of them,
I would feel more comfortable with random cops around me than just like random people on the streets who I don't know what the hell I don't know.
I don't know. I'd rather be around a group of people, group of
Yeah, if you
men.
trust them. But I'm saying, like, if there was a shady looking character that came onto a bus as opposed to a police officer, I mean, which one would you has a more likelihood of going crazy? I mean, police don't normally snap and kill people randomly.
Well, yeah, I mean, so in that scenario, you would have more comfort probably in seeing a police officer than some shady individual. However, I wouldn't look at the officer as a sense of security. I don't think I've ever have looked at police as a sense of security.
The
Not to
reason
say
why,
that I don't like, not to say that I don't like cops and I don't see the necessity of
yeah,
having police. I understand it. I'm not anti-police
yeah.
at all. I understand that we need police, especially in the society that we live in. I'm just saying that as a man, I do not derive any sense of security from police officers themselves. I appreciate the work they do. I think that it is more practical to find security in your abilities to defend your family and the network that you have to defend a larger group of people.
I think that the reason why most people are the people who are anti-police, it's all about the drug war, man. You know, if you got weed in your pocket, yeah, you're gonna feel less comfortable around the police. You know what I'm saying? Like the drug war has just ruined everything. Like as far
Mhm.
as people's trust in the system, I think it has a huge thing to do with it.
Yeah,
Like,
that has a huge thing to do with it. Um, I also think that the abuse of power, the type of people who go into those positions, let's be real, the type of people that go into those positions a lot of times were, we're wussies growing up. They want a sense of power. A lot of times that's what it is. Some of them, they were made and built for it, right?
it's
And
crazy
that's
how they
just
haven't ended these drug wars yet. Like, what the hell? I mean, we got all these Democrats running shit now. You would think that it's like it's never gonna happen or something. Like, what the hell? Like,
well, they're
how are you
eventually going
not
to.
legalized weed yet? How?
Well, it already kind of is de facto. Nobody's, you know, I think it's going to be
Yeah,
anyway.
but you can't grow it. I mean, that's kind of like property taxes type shit.
Well,
You
I
have to buy
think
it.
on that topic, I think that what we're going to see is the um, basically what you're seeing is the government becoming mainstream about their ability about the fact that they're the biggest drug pushers in the world. These banks and the governments are becoming more mainstream about it, especially in the West. And so I think that you're going to see, because there's this sentiment building, and it has been for quite some time. I used to agree with this. I don't know anymore. That is, make all drugs legal. I think eventually that's where we're going. I think that's where we're heading, is to make
Yeah,
all drugs legal.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see it happening unless there's like a complete breakdown in society.
Dude, Joe Biden was just like, crack pipes, dog. Y'all want crack pipes? I got you.
I
In
saw something
California,
about
they're like, you want needles to shoot up heroin? We
yeah.
got you. It's coming, bro. It's coming. They legalized crack in I can't remember what state it was, but it was like Oregon or something. They legalized crack cocaine. Dude, it's coming. It's coming. It's all there, all the building blocks. And weed was the gateway for it. Honestly, it was. Weed is a gateway drug. People don't like that. People think that it's not, but it is a gateway drug. It gets you introduced into the drug world. It is typically the first drug most people try, and then it introduces you to other drugs. Doesn't mean you
Well,
will try it.
tobacco's a drug. I mean, I think tobacco or alcohol would be a better gateway drug because I mean that's like socially acceptable. You know,
I think
you
that
have a couple
weed,
drinks and then you hit a joint for the first time. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but weed is different because it has always had that negative connotation to it, and it then is involved with the drug world at large. If you know somebody who can get you weed, you're probably not too far away from knowing somebody who can get you Adderall, who can get you Coke, who can get you heroin. So you're entering in a different world. Whereas somebody who can get alcohol, they may know somebody who can get weed, but they probably don't know anybody who can get heroin. They probably that's the thing. Like, you're entering a different world, you're entering a different dimension of, not dimension, but you're just entering a different world. And so I think weed has been the gateway drug on a federal level, on a national level, to then allow for crack to become legal in Oregon, to allow heroines to be given out. I mean, needles for heroin users in California. For Joe Biden to say, let's give y'all some crack pipes. That's what I think. And it's only going to keep going from there.
I don't know, man. I don't see like a. I mean, yeah, maybe it'll become legal, but I don't think it's gonna like create like a dramatic rise in drug use or anything. Because people who do
How
that
many
shit,
more people do you know smoke weed now? Almost everybody I know, not almost everybody, but there's a lot of people I know now that are like, yeah, I'll smoke weed.
yeah, I mean, yeah, weed, not
And
heroin
weed's
or
horrible
meth.
for you on the long term. It's horrible for you. It's horrible for you.
I mean, I don't know. There's like
Definitely
people who
horrible.
are like old as fuck that smoke weed. So I mean, I
Yeah,
guess,
that doesn't mean it's good for you. There's people that are old as fuck that drink alcohol and
yeah.
smoke
So I
cigarettes.
mean, well, if you live a long time, what the fuck does it matter?
What quality of life are you having? I mean,
I don't know.
the,
I
your
mean, they
short term memory is destroyed with weed over the long period. If you're a heavy user as well, your ability to concentrate and focus is also down
yeah, but don't
dramatically.
old people who
Your
don't do that have those problems?
Yeah,
Like,
because of diets, because of a lot of reasons. But I'm talking about weed specifically is actually not very good for anybody. Is there medicinal purposes for it? Yeah, of course. But so does opium. Opium has medicinal purposes. But should you just be using it for recreational? Probably not. And I'm not trying to preach here and say I'm better than anybody, right? I have smoked weed. I'm not against weed use. I'm just saying that on the
well,
long
yeah,
term, it's not
in
good
in
for you.
in moderation. That's how all of life is in moderation, man. As long
I don't
except like
even think I
evil
don't even
shit.
think smoking weed recreationally at any level is good for you at all. I think that it damages your body, it damages your mind. And I'm not trying to be, like I said, I'm very open about myself. I'm not being hypocritical here. I'm just saying that these are the truths, and I think that it's basically this whole weed movement has been pushing more and more people to try different drugs. I know more people now than I ever thought I would know. I never thought I would know anybody who did cocaine. Now I'm knowing people left and right who are doing cocaine.
Yeah, if you do cocaine nowadays, you're a fucking dumbass because half that shit is like kill you because it's like mixed with shit.
If you do
That's why
cocaine anytime,
I don't know. I think that cocaine should be legal.
I think that the cocoa leaves that cocaine is
Yeah, you chew
made
on them or
from,
whatever.
that
I
that
don't
I
know.
think is natural. The
Yeah,
cocaine itself,
I'm not really
I don't
sure
know.
how it's made, but yeah, like the leaves themselves and stuff. Yeah, like people make tea with it and shit too. Like there's all kinds of different crazy shit. And obviously, if you do anything too much, it's not good for you. Like everything, too much of anything. I get. Well, there probably are something like too much love is okay, I guess. But
Huh. Well, it depends.
it
You know,
depends. I don't know. It worked for Deshaun Watson, the new Browns quarterback. He just got $230 million. Did you hear what he was in trouble for
no.
before? He was at a massage parlor in Texas, and I guess he like forced two blowjobs on two of the massage women, and then
Nice.
ejaculated on two other ones.
All right. All right. Well, that's
And
all
it
right.
worked for him, I guess.
All right. I don't even know how to.
He just got $230 million. He might not even play half the year. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to call that love.
Yeah, yeah. It was a joke. Obviously, that's not
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. No, I know. I know it was a joke.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it could spark some new romance, man. Maybe they will fall in love
Maybe.
after they saw how
Who
much
knows?
money he just got.
I mean, yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff here as far as the drug culture in America. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing, and it's making more people dependent on the system, making more people dependent on substances, and it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's a level of, you know, like I said, moderation. I don't know. You just gotta. I don't know.
For sure. So, yeah, just really quickly, I want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in Ukraine. I don't really care about the necessary like war that's going, like the war necessarily that's taking place there. I'd rather focus on, like, as far as like the Russia Ukraine war specifically. So there have been, uh, you know, rumors, and if you look it up, it's legit about neo Nazis being in Ukraine, right wing extremists, and they've actually been around since roughly 2014. You can go back and read articles about them in the Guardian, BBC, any major news organization, and they'll tell you about this rise of Nazism, if you will, in Ukraine, and it's been going on for years, almost 20 years now. Oh, I'm sorry, almost 10 years now, and this is what Putin alleges to be fighting. Russia is alleging to fight against the Nazis that are in the Ukraine, and they are hurting the Russians that are over there. And now more people are becoming aware of this, becoming aware of the fact that Canada has helped train some of these people. I've been aware of the fact that the United States has helped train some of these people, I believe, and they have been receiving funding for some time. This isn't anything new, right? We see this all the time in militias in the Middle East, where we supported what are now terrorist organizations, but we funded them, we created them, we trained them, and now we make them out to be the bad guy. And so the neo Nazis over there are similar in that regard, and a lot of news is coming out about that. And before we continue on that, there's another thing that I want to mention is Ukraine is going to adopt this social credit application to sort of enable the social credit system to exist over there. And without diving too deep into that, connecting it to the neo Nazis, who they call neo Nazis. By the way, you look into it, they do not consider themselves Nazis. They consider themselves nationalists who want Ukraine to be Ukraine and Ukraine for Ukrainian people.
Are they like against Jews or something? I don't get it. Like, are they actual? Like, isn't that what the Nazis were just against the Jews? That's kind of like what their highlight was. It was like
No, the Nazis were against the Hitler saw that this is a delicate topic here, especially being on YouTube. So here's the deal. In Germany, there was a lot of porn. There was a lot of transgenderism going on at the time. There was a lot of There was a lot of financial despair because of how the central banks, who are owned primarily by people who have small hats, and
to have small what?
Small hats.
Oh, okay.
They're known for having small hats, and so the porn and everything were coming from also people who had small hats. Hitler noticed this trend, and the book burnings that took place were mostly books of pornographic nature.
Hmm.
And there was a good vibe initially, what they were trying to do. And I'm not saying I'm for or against it. I'm just saying this is what the truth is about the matter. And with that, you think about what's taking place in Ukraine. You think about the fact that Ukraine has a huge porn industry, huge porn industry. You think about the fact that Ukraine is known for its corruption. You think about the fact that their president was a freaking drag queen actor comedian who played the president at one point in time in a TV show, then became the president. You think about the fact that Joe Biden said, yo, I told Ukraine, we ain't giving you $1 billion if you don't drop the investigation. So you just see the level of corruption there. And then you think about people who are nationalistic and they want to preserve their nation. So what do? They organize and try to become the government. And so essentially, that's what's happening in the Ukraine, which then begs the question about Russia's involvement in Ukraine and if there's any legitimacy, there's any truth in what Putin is saying that they're over there to stop the Nazis so they can reclaim their part of Russia and protect those people. But then it also begs the question, is there an actual war going on against people who are freedom fighters?
Wait, so
Are they?
Russia is pro porn, and that's why he's trying to stop the Nazis in Ukraine because he wants the porn to keep coming?
No, no. I
So I
don't know
mean,
that
they're
it's
the
so
same
porn.
kind of Nazis over there. You're saying were like but well, I thought the Nazis. You were just saying in Germany the Nazis were like anti-porn and shit, but like in Ukraine they're Nazis. So they're neo-Nazis. So it's like
That's what
they are.
that's what the media calls them. They don't call themselves that.
So how can I mean like? But they're how are they Nazis if they're for porn?
They're not. So what? So think about what I just said. They are trying. Their goal is to make Ukraine for Ukrainians and to get out of the corruption.
Okay, so the Nazis aren't really the ones running the show over there. It's like they're another side group
But
that
we don't
is
even know if they're Nazis. Okay, and what I'm saying is that what if, what if, what if they are freedom fighters and the real war that's going on is to quash the freedom fighters? Because let's be real, um, I like to play devil's advocate with China, Russia, India, but in the end of the day, I think that a lot of these nations, pretty much all the nations, are involved with this evil empire that runs all empires in the world, a satanic empire. So I don't think China's immune to it. I don't think Russia's immune to it, right? But they do have points that I agree with them on more so than I do the Western countries, and they do have valid reasons to do what they do. That doesn't mean that they're still not in cahoots in some way, shape, or form with the evil empire that's everybody's scared of when they talk about globalism, but it comes in other forms too. So I'm saying, what if who they call the Nazis, because everything's inverted, right? Not everything, but when we're talking about the media, they lie about a lot. They could do a lot of misdirection and lies. So what if this is actually a war on freedom fighters?
so they're not actually fighting Ukraine. They're fighting like some kind of rebellion that's trying to free Ukraine from evil type shit.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe. And I think that even that's misdirected because
yeah.
you
I don't know.
shouldn't be, you shouldn't, I don't think that it's not bad to want to defend your nation, but I think your tribe should come first. I think that wars are typically satanic rituals. There are justifiable wars, there are holy wars, I do believe. I don't believe wars are evil, but I do think that a lot of wars between nations, especially the wars that we see, are straight up sacrifice rituals. And I think that one of the main sacrifice rituals that are out there is this fighting for your homeland, fighting for your nation, I think is a huge spell. And so I'm not even saying that necessarily that they're freedom fighters, but that as time goes on, what if they're labeled such and that the war, I'm really just jogging this idea out right now. So I think that even those, the neo Nazis or the freedom fighters, whatever you want to call them, I think that they're brainwashed too in trying to fight for their country and get rid of the corruption. I don't know. I don't know. I think that it's just a lot of distraction.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
my
think
big
that
thing. I think it's stupid. I don't even. There's all kinds of other stuff going on in your local community, let alone outside the, in the world. There's more stuff going on. It's not all about the Ukraine thing.
for sure, for sure. But I do think that we are going to feel a lot of this, and so I think the narrative moving forward for a lot of quote unquote domestic terrorism, they're going to there's going to be a side that supports them, calling them freedom fighters, and then I think that you're going to have this battle between freedom fighters and the state. I think that's going to be a huge narrative that comes about, and I think that this war here might be the catalyst for that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not even a free country. I mean, Ukraine is super corrupt. Like, they're fighting for freedom that isn't there. They're trying to make freedom or something.
Well, I think they're just trying to get rid of the corruption. I
Yeah.
think that's what they want to do. Will they achieve it? Probably not. Definitely not, actually. Corruption will be everywhere, always.
Not here on MOT Media, baby.
Right,
Woo!
right. I mean, yeah. And you just have to be able to stand your ground. That's for sure. That's how you beat it. But anyway, those are just some of the thoughts that I came up with on the fly here regarding that situation. You know, there's a lot to talk about in the whole Ukraine Russia war, but I think that um, narrative is one that we might hear more in the United States. But in regards to militias that are formed here, groups that are formed here to sort of combat it.
Yeah, I got PayPal sending me emails asking me if I want to donate to Ukraine. Like, what the hell? They've never asked me to
Yeah, I
donate
know.
to anything else.
So stupid.
But then, like, you got the genocide in Yemen that they can't even raise $3 billion to or whatever to, like, I don't know, to help them out. Their war's been going on for like years,
Right.
and it's all a bunch of nonsense. It's
Yeah.
making me
So just save your money, invest it in yourself, invest it in your family. Don't give your money to any of these propaganda bullshit scams. And yeah, do what's good for you and your tribe.
I
And
think that it must be like linked to the First Son's account. You know who I'm referring to when I say the First Son.
yeah, yeah,
It's directly linked to his account.
yeah. So
Russia's
everybody's
trying
just
to take out his porn company. That's what it is.
yeah, yeah.
You're
They're
gonna see
convinced.
a video with a bunch of like porn stars like with bandages wrapped on their head, like they just bombed like a porn site or something.
That's good. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today, guys. We'll be back here next Sunday. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Yep.
Um, yeah, you got anything you want to say, mate, before we go?
You guys have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, peace.
Peace.